Hi, and welcome to episode 27 of the Noble Character Crafts podcast. My name is Amy, and I am coming to you from eastern Nebraska, where I live on a farm with my husband and our 5 children. Today is Friday, May 18th, 2018. A huge welcome to any new or returning viewers. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. This is a podcast all about my life as a knitter, a crocheter, and a hand dyer of yarn. You can find me online on Instagram and Etsy at Noble Character Crafts. You can find me on Ravelry at Noble Character, and I also have a group for this podcast on Ravelry under Noble Character Crafts Podcast. You can also get in contact with me through my email, which is noblecharactercrafts@yahoo.com. In the Ravelry group, you'll be able to find show notes for this episode and previous episodes, as well as several other chatter threads. I am currently hosting a knit-along, which is called the Brioche Knit-along, and that is for any project that you would like to try that includes brioche. This can be for 1-color or 2-color brioche, any pattern that includes brioche, whether it be just the trim or the entire thing, whatever you would like to try, that would be, if any brioche project is accepted. So I would love it if you would join us. There is a chatter thread and a finished object thread in the Ravelry group. And you can also tag your any photos that you put on Instagram with Brioche Knit Along. In the Ravelry group is also where I host any giveaways that I have for this podcast. And I do have a giveaway this week. The beautiful Hannah of Yarnia Designs donated this pattern of her new cottage garden socks. Isn't that beautiful? Here's the back of them. Oh, they've got this beautiful lace detail. I just love them so much. And Hannah also has a podcast, which you should definitely check out. She is from the UK, so she has a beautiful accent. And I love watching her podcast. I've recently discovered her podcast, but have loved watching them so far. Anyway, you can go to our Ravelry group. There will be a thread to win a copy of this cottage garden socks pattern. And I just want you to answer the question of what is your favorite plant or vegetable or flower that is in your garden. I am myself not a huge gardener, but I love and appreciate gardens, and so I would, this is the time of year, at least on the Northern Hemisphere, where we are planting our gardens and so forth. So if you would share your favorite garden item, that will enter you for to win this copy of this pattern, and it is so beautiful. Thank you so much, Hannah, for your generous donation. All right, so finished object. I have a finished object this week. I was able to finish my Asher cardigan, which I'm so thrilled with. I've noticed that when I get close to the finish line and finishing a project, I just continue to work on it until it's done. I get a lot of motivation right near the end that, if I can see the end, if the end is in sight, then I'm motivated to work on it quite a bit. So that was the case with this. This is a pattern by Christina Dene, and yeah, I'm just absolutely thrilled with this. I used Knit Picks Cotton, which is 70% cotton and 30% linen, and it's a DK weight, and I used the ash colorway. And let's see, I made this using size 5 needles, which are 3.75 millimeter, except for the ribbing on the arms and the bottom right here. Went down a size to a size 4, which is a 3.5 millimeter. For this ribbing, you actually stay with the 5, which is a little different for any garment I've made. I've always thought you had to go down for all of the ribbing, but this is a special eyelet ribbing. As you can see, it's more lacy, and I really like it. I didn't actually realize that from the picture on the pattern. I couldn't really tell that it was an eyelet detail on the ribbing, but I really like it a lot. So last time I podcasted, I'm going to try to turn around so you can see the back of it, because that's where a lot of the neat detailing is. So I think about right here under this V right here. I decided to make it a little bit more cropped than what the pattern called for. There. The pattern called for you to work 11 inches before you started the ribbing, and I only worked 7.5 inches because it was to the length that I liked. I just thought that it hit me at the right spot, and I really didn't want it to be any longer down on my hips. So I did have to make quite a few modifications to this pattern. My gauge was off just by 1 stitch. It was 1 stitch too loose, and that seemed to really affect a lot of things for me anyway. So it's a top-down cardigan, worked in, you know, raglan sleeves and everything. So the first modification that I made was that I started the sleeves quite a bit sooner than what the pattern called for. And actually, I could have even started them sooner because there's still quite a bit of fabric under the arm here that doesn't necessarily need to be there. But it's okay. I'm still happy with it. It's still comfortable, and I think it's just fine. But I'm certainly glad that I split for the sleeves when I did. I ended up skipping a whole section of the pattern and went right on to divide the sleeves at the point that I needed it for my body shape anyway. Then like I said, I shortened it so it wasn't quite as long. And then when I went to put on so after I followed the pattern for the ribbing just on the bottom, normal. But then when I went to go start the sleeves, then I had less stitches since I had divided for the sleeves sooner than what the pattern called for. My size, the stitches that I had left on the waist yarn were less than what they should have been for my size. But I picked up 6 stitches under the arm, and then I ended up having the same amount of stitches that the next size down called for in the pattern. So I mean, it's just working in the round and decreasing, you know, as the pattern calls for. So it wasn't a huge deal, but it was nice that it worked out that I had the stitch count to match the next size down. So I just followed that to make sure I was right with my stitch count. Anyway, and then the ribbing here is, and on the bottom is just 1 by 1 ribbing for the sleeves and the bottom. The bottom hem is just supposed to be 1 inch, which is what I did. And then this sleeve ribbing is 3 inches. Let's see. Okay, and then for the collar or neckband piece here, I have mentioned last time I made a cardigan that is so hard to pick up all those stitches and knit them. And again, it took me at least 2 hours to pick up all the stitches and knit them around the neckband here. But once I got that done, then it was okay. I did also decrease the amount of repeats for this ribbing. I was supposed to do 4 more rows according to the pattern, but my gauge must have affected that as well because it was already matching the picture. It doesn't tell you in the pattern the measurement of this, what it's supposed to be, but I can just tell from the pattern that this ribbing was matching what was in the picture for the pattern. And I thought if I did 4 more rows, it would just make it quite a bit wider, and I didn't really want that. So anyway, I think that is all for this. I am entering this into quite a few different knit-alongs. So Selma of the Little Big Knits podcast is hosting a Summer Fibers Cal. Joanna of Stitching the High Notes is hosting another summer garment mal. And also the ladies in the Girls in the Yarn Cafe podcast are hosting those summer knits cal. And then also Amber of the Yarn Hoarder is hosting a cal for, it's called the Unsung Heroes cal. And that is for any pattern that has less than 30, I think, less than 30 projects on Ravelry. And I think this is only like number 13 or 15 or something like that for this particular pattern. And in fact, all of my, my other 2 works in progress that I have to show are also eligible for that Unsung Heroes knit along. So that's exciting. I really enjoy doing patterns, making patterns that are not super popular. So I am glad to be a part of that knit along as well. So anyway, I'm just super excited to have lots of different cows to join in for this. It's fun to be able to join in a group knit along. So anyway, super happy with this. This is the second time I have made a summer cotton cardigan, and I've mentioned before that the first one that I made just did not turn out flattering at all, and I will never wear it. In fact, I should just rip it out and use the yarn for something else, but I haven't yet. But this one I will use, and I'm really happy with, and yeah, I'm just super excited to have this to throw on. It's not, you know, super hot since it's the material is plant-based, but it will keep me warm enough on a cooler night or in air conditioning or anything like that. So I'm very excited to have this as part of my wardrobe. And this is the second garment that I have made this year, the second garment that I have made at all that I will use. So yeah, I'm really excited to have a start on a handmade wardrobe. So all right, moving on to my works in progress. My first work in progress is in this adorable bag by Susie of, oh, I always forget, Tiny Toffee Designs, I think, is her Etsy shop where she sells patterns, sewing patterns. I don't think she sells finished products. I don't think, but anyway, we did a swap and that's how I got this. And in here are the Sweet Sadie socks here, I'll show you the front picture because mine are not, I don't have one completed yet, but this picture is really nice. So these are the Sweet Sadie socks, again, by Alyssa Greenlaw. She is something from string on Instagram. And I put a little bit of work in on these, but not a ton. I have been knitting on these while I teach my kids schoolwork. I homeschool our children. And there have been 2 times now when I have messed up because there is lace in this pattern, but this is really the most simple project I had on hand. So anyway, I thought this was the best option for grabbing something to knit on while I was doing schoolwork, but 2 times I've made mistakes and have had to rip back, so that's slowed down my progress on these. Anyway, this cute little ice cream progress keeper from Amanda of Little Bitty Delights is marking where I was last time I recorded a podcast. So I've been able to work a couple of inches, but I still have, I think, about 2 more inches to work before I decrease for the toe. But I'm just really, really loving this pattern. It's so beautiful. These little shorty socks shouldn't take me so long, but I really haven't put a ton of time into them. Hopefully I will this upcoming week. Now that I finished this, like I said, so once I saw that this was almost done, I was like, I'm just getting this thing done. So anyway, I'm using my own hand-dyed yarn on my Pitter Patter base, which is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon on my Spring Rain colorway. I am using size 1, 2.25 needles, 64 stitches, has this beautiful picot edging, which I don't think I really explained last time very well, but if you haven't ever done a picot edging, you start, well, on the underside, but of course it's not under there yet. You start knitting and then you make some yarn overs to make this picot edging. You know, it's kind of like you're making holes in your knitting, and then you fold that down inside, and then it creates this beautiful pattern. And then so then you catch those first stitches that you started, your cast on stitches, and then start knitting through both layers until you get that all connected, and then you start working down. I hope that makes sense, but I didn't feel like I had really explained that very well last time in case somebody didn't understand how that worked. Maybe you still don't understand, but anyway, that's my attempt at trying to explain a picot edging. This has a Eye of Partridge heel, which is I think it's the most beautiful heel. I love it. So pretty. Anyway, hopefully I'll get a little bit more work done on these, and these shouldn't take me so long, but anyway, here's the yarn and the cake. I hope I have enough. I think I do. I forgot, I measured it before I started, but because I had a few other half-used skeins that I wanted to use up for these shorties, and I picked the one that had the most yardage, but now I forget how much that was. And I wish I would have kept that, because then I could just wade this when I was done with the first one. Well, I guess I can just wade the sock. But I might need to do a contrast toe, and I'm afraid with the needles in there, my scale might be a little off, but it'll probably be close enough. Anyway, hopefully I can just do it all in one solid color. That's what I'm hoping to do, but we'll see if I have enough yarn. Okay, my next work in progress is my contribution for the brioche knit along, and this is in my beautiful project bag from Tanny Casey. I have been mispronouncing her name, so my apologies for that, but her name is pronounced Tanny Casey. Here is her label inside the bag. And I just cannot recommend these project bags enough. They are, her craftsmanship is just such high quality. They're just beautiful project bags. Anyway, inside this, I have started the Brioche Ponchology, which is a pattern by Suzanne Summer. And I am loving this. It is so addictive because I am using up a bunch of scraps of my yarn, and so it's so fun to start working with the new color. I mean, I've only had one color change here, but it's so fun, and I'm just excited to get to the next color. Okay, so this is all on worsted weight. I am using two different bases from my Etsy shop. Actually, all that I'm using so far is my Lenora base, which is 100% superwash merino wool. But I will be also using some of my Caring base, which is 100% non-superwash merino wool. I am using size 8 needles, 5mm. And this pattern is just so much fun. I can't tell you how much fun this is to work on. So you start with an I-cord, start making an I-cord, that's how I started it, and then you pick up the stitches along the I-cord and start working it. So it gives you this beautiful finish along the top here, which I love. And oh, I am just loving it so much. It's so, well, maybe you don't know, but brioche is super, super squishy. And then combine that with worsted weight, it's just so soft and squishy. It's so much fun. The colorways that I'm using so far are this light blue with the dark blue specks in it is my Cool Spirit colorway, and that is completely used up now. And then the contrast, or the background color, the purple, is my Wisdom colorway, and I've still got quite a bit of that left. And then the foreground color that I'm using right now is my Joy colorway. And that's how much I have left of that. And I'm still increasing, so, I'm going through the yarn pretty quickly as I'm increasing I think every 4 rows I increase by 1, 2, I think 4, 8 stitches every 4 rows, I think, is how it calculates. I might be wrong there, but I actually haven't worked on this for a while. I worked on it over the weekend a lot, but then like I said, wanted to finish this cardigan up. So now the pattern is escaping me a little bit because it's not fresh in my mind. But I'm so excited to get back to this now that I have finished this cardigan. I had this problem when I made my first brioche project, which was my hat. What was that called? Flaming beanie. And when I started my round, I kept making mistakes, and I did that again. Now, when I started this, I was using the magic loop method, and I think maybe that was part of my problem. Now I have switched to a smaller cable since I've made enough increases. I have a cable that's short enough where I can just work in the round. That makes such a huge difference. I think I just was getting my yarn mixed up on where to place it when I started a new color. So anyway, you can see, like right there, I've got a purple strand there, and they don't belong there. But that was the beginning of the round. Seems like there's another mistake somewhere, but let's not look too closely. Anyway, it's fine now, and that will be I'm pretty sure that I can just wear that on the back of my neck, and so it won't be so noticeable once it's all done. But now that I have started working the round, I don't think I've made any mistakes at the beginning of the round, so I think it's looking pretty good. It's so much fun. I cannot wait to continue to add more colors to it and see how it grows. So the next color I will add on is my Sings colorway, which I'm so excited to start working with this because this is one of my favorite colorways. And this is on the Caring base, which is the non-superwash base. So those are all of my whips, really. I did start a swatch this morning for my next project, which I have here. I've just started the swatch. I am going to be making another cotton cardigan. This time I want to make a long sleeved version, and I want it to be a little bit oversized just to throw on when I, maybe like if we're outside at night and I'm a little cool, or a lot of times, well, just if we're ever outside at night in the summertime, I get a little cool. And so I thought it'd be nice to throw on a cotton cardigan that, you know the benefits of cotton as opposed to wool for a cardigan in the summertime. It's just a bit nicer. So anyway, I am really liking how this colorway is knitting up. I am doing some major stash busting. I have this huge cone of peaches and cream 100% cotton that it's not expensive, it's not hard to find, and this is in the salt and pepper colorway, I believe. Yes, salt and pepper colorway. It is 14 ounces, 400 grams worsted weight yarn. This is not going to be enough for the cardigan that I want to make, but this is going to be the majority of the color that I use for this cardigan. I am going to be making the Bly cardigan, which is by Amy Christoffers. And this is a free pattern on Ravelry. Amy Christoffers has a ton of free patterns on Ravelry. I was shocked when I went to go look at her Ravelry page how many of them were free and how gorgeous so many of the free ones are. I mean, she's got several paid for patterns too, which are also stunning, but I was just flabbergasted that she had so many free ones. So anyway, I am planning to, like I said, make the majority of this cardigan in this colorway. And then, let's see if you can see them. I have them lined up on my table behind me. Kind of, you can see them. My husband just made me this table. I need to stain the bottom of it, but anyway. So I have them lined up there, but I've got a rainbow of more cotton yarn. You can't see it very well, but goes from hot pink, coral, yellow, like a sage green, 2 shades of blue, like a turquoise, and then a more true blue, and then a light purple. So I'm planning to make like a rainbow striped effect on the bottom of it, and hopefully I can match the sleeves as well. That's my thoughts anyway. This one is meant to be worn with 0 to 4 inches of ease, but I think I'm going to go up to the next size up because, like I said, I really want it to be oversized. And these sleeves don't go quite down all the way, but I'm probably going to lengthen them to be a more, a longer sleeve as well. I think we'll see. So like I said, I'm just swatching now. I started with size 7 needles, which that's what the pattern calls for, which are 4.5 millimeter, but I just measured and I was 3 stitches too loose. So I just switched to size 6 needles, and I'm going to go for a little bit further with my gauge to see if I can get gauge yet. So that's just starting that project, but I'm super excited for this. So this will also work for a couple of the summer garment knit-alongs or make-alongs as well. So I'm excited for that. Some new things that I have gotten. This was my Mother's Day treat to myself. I picked this out myself, but it was for Mother's Day in my eyes. I picked up another beautiful, beautiful project bag from Tanny Casey. That's how I found out how to pronounce her name, because I asked her for this material specifically, and she was so kind to make this bag. She already had this material, but she didn't have any of this particular bag in her shop at the time, so I just sent her a message asking if I could possibly get one of these large drawstring project bags in this, it's a Rifle Paper Company, I think, fabric, and I just loved it so much. It's something botanical, something or other is the name of it. And I just think it's so beautiful. And then the bottom of it is waxed canvas, which is really nice. My other one from her is not waxed canvas, it's just regular canvas, which I also love, but I'm excited to have some waxed canvas to see how that wears as well. So, oh, and anyway, when I messaged her then, I said, by the way, how do you pronounce your name? Because I've been mentioning you on my podcast and I don't think I'm pronouncing it right, or I just have no idea how to pronounce it. Anyway, again, her project bags are just top notch. They are so well made. The price is super, I think, reasonable for the quality of her work. This inside pocket is nice and roomy, and then it has these two, I don't know what these are called. I always forget, but anyway, these two holes to run some yarn through if you want to separate your yarn if you're using two different colors. The inside is canvas, super sturdy. I just love these bags so much. The drawstring gets a little bit easier the more you use it. You know, when you first get it, it's stiff, but I just love the durability of these bags. And then I also, inside, I have some other goodies that I got for myself. So I made an order through Tuft Woolens, and which I love so much. And this is my favorite scent that she does, which is Plum and Amber. And this is the bath bar. So I have a wool wash bar of this, and it's so, I just love this scent so much. So I wanted to get a bath bar of this as well. And then I also got a hand and body balm in the Plum and Amber as well. Oh, it's so nice. Oh, I just love it so much. I go through these pretty quickly. I use these quite a lot. I have, I only have one, no, I might have two in my stash, but I just stocked up. Anyway, I go through these quite a bit. They're just so handy to have in a project bag to use. And I think maybe because of the cotton I've been using, it really dries out my hands even a little bit more than the wool does. Especially my index finger, it gets really dry. So I just love these. I also got a couple more scents that I wanted to try. I got Russian Flower, which is basically lavender with some other scents. I can't remember now what all their scents are in it, but I love lavender, and this one is really, really nice. I love it. I love it a lot. It's a beautiful smell. And the last scent I got is Mossy Woods. And this one's really nice too. It's very woodsy, which I love. I love that scent. And especially at Christmas time, I just love pine scented candles and things like that. But, you know, it doesn't have to be just for Christmas time. It's really nice. I love it. So I'm very thrilled with all of those. That was my little treat to myself. All right. I have one square to share with you this week for the 2018 collaboration Afghan. So if you are a new viewer, I am organizing a project where I have asked 48 indie dyers to knit or crochet a 7-inch square that I am going to be joining into an Afghan, and then that Afghan will be sent off to Lisa of Indie Untangled, and she will have the Afghan on display at the Indie Untangled trunk show in October, and attendees of the trunk show will have the opportunity to win the Afghan. So I have received one more square, and this one is from the ladies of Nice and Knit, Kara and Katie. Their packaging is so professional. Look at that beautiful card that they have. And then, and even the bag, it's way over there, but the bag that it came in even is very beautiful. Like the shipping bag even is beautiful. Here is their beautiful square that they made. Oh, that's so pretty. This is on their Dockside colorway. That's so lovely. And these ladies spoiled me. They sent some enamel pins for me. Look at these. my jaw just dropped when I opened up the package. I was like, oh my word, they're so beautiful. That is just stunning. I just want to put them on a bag like that, you know, so that they're a little scented. They're so cute. I love them. So thank you so much, ladies. That was so generous of you to send these little pins for me. I really appreciate it so much. All right, so the last thing I have to share with you is a shawl kit. Every time I record a podcast, I try to show at least a set of 3 skeins that would work well to make a shawl. So, because I haven't mentioned this in a while, so I thought I would mention this again. I do not do shop updates. I have several colorways in my shop that are just available at all times. I have 9 bases, and all of my colorways now are available on all of my bases at any time. So that is why I don't share what I've been dyeing this week, because I don't do shop updates as it seems like most indie dyers do shop updates, but I do not. So anyway, that's why I just pick a few skeins each week to share with you that I think would work well together. And to be honest with you, I'm losing track of what I've shown and what I haven't shown. But I don't think I've shown these colors together, so hopefully not. If I have, forgive me. I know I've shown some of them, but I don't think I've shown all 3 of these together. So anyway, I don't suppose you really care. Here's my set for this week. So I thought that these went well together and were a little something different from what I've shown before, I hope. So the 3 colors I have here are my Delights colorway. This is a bare base, and then it's just speckled with gold and black and brown. And the brown dye is so fun. I really love speckling with brown because it really makes some rusty oranges, and even look, you can see a little blue. It breaks, the dye breaks and makes lots of different colors, which I really love to see how that works out. This color is called Like a Bird, and this was dyed based on a photograph that a lady that I follow on Instagram took of a mallard duck, and she said, oh, it would be so cool if somebody would dye up some yarn to match the colors in the mallard duck, so I did. So I really enjoy dyeing this yarn, and I like the colors in it. So it has a few different shades of green. Here's this dark green, and then there's a, well, it's kind of hard to see, it's folded in here, but here's more of a bluish green anyway there. And then it's obviously got some browns, and then the gold is for the beak, and then the mallard duck also has a spot of this brighter green on him, and then it's speckled also with more brown. So this is a fun colorway. And then the yellow is my honeycomb colorway. So it's just a nice bright gold. And so anyway, I just thought that those looked nice together for more of a natural inspired shawl, you know, colors that you see in nature. All right, and these are, by the way, all on my Margaret base, which is my sport base, and it is a 75 superwash merino, 25% nylon blend. No, it's an 80-20 blend. 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. Yes. All right, so that's all I have for this week. We have had a great week. We celebrated Mother's Day, so you can see my pretty balloon there from my children, which is so nice of them. They have had a lot of fun playing with it as well. And let's see, we went out to eat on Mother's Day as well, which was nice. And I've picked out a bunch of things to plant in our garden. Last year, I've mentioned before, I'm not a great gardener. I appreciate gardens, but I'm not great at them. So last year I planted along our house. We have a edge along our house on 2 sides of our house where it's, there's like a bed of dirt where you can plant things. And I hadn't had anything planted there for several years. So last year I finally planted some hostas, columbine flowers, hydrangeas, lavender, and then some kind of a flowering bush. It starts with an A, but I'd never heard of the name, and now I forget what it was. Anyway, everything died except for the hostas, which I don't think you can kill hostas, right? And then the flowering bush is coming back as well, but everything else did not come back. Those were all supposed to be perennials, you know, ones that come back every year, and they did not come back. So I went to the store this week and picked up some low maintenance, hardy plants that I need to plant yet. I'm hoping to do that this afternoon. But I got some delphinium, some catnip. I thought our outside cats might enjoy that. I don't know. Let's see, what else did I get? Stonehenge or stone, I don't know, something, some kind of a little bush that looks like a succulent kind of, but isn't. But anyway, well, I can't remember the name of the other one. I'll try to put it down below. But anyway, I got a few more plants that I need to plant, and hopefully they will survive my very much not a green thumb. Hopefully I will not kill them. We'll see. I do okay with house plants, but I'm just not great with outside plants. My daughter also has a little flower pot that she has some geraniums and petunias in. So hopefully we will stay on top of watering them as well so that they don't die. She really wanted to have her own little flower garden, so she has it's a pretty good sized, I can't show you, like this big of a flower pot that she has full of those flowers. So I think, let's see, what else have we been doing? My husband still hasn't started planting his beans yet. His land just got sprayed with the fertilizer or whatever they spray before you can plant. That just got done earlier this week, so he has to wait a week before he can plant. The weather has been beautiful. Actually, it's been pretty warm a few days. Yesterday, it got into the 80s, and my kids were complaining that they were way too hot outside and were begging me to fill up our swimming pool. We just have a small swimming pool. But they finally, you know, I kept telling them, I know you're hot, but it's not warm enough to go swimming yet. But I finally caved and filled up their swimming pool. And of course it's filled up from our well, so it is super cold. And of course they were too cold to get in, but they still had fun kind of jumping in and out of the pool and splashing and things like that. So it was good. So other than that, yeah, I think everything else is going well. We've just been doing good. So no news is good news. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this podcast, please give me a thumbs up. I would appreciate that. And push the subscribe button if you would like to be notified whenever I put up a new video. I would really appreciate that as well. I hope you all have a great week ahead. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye-bye.